Hello, welcome back to our podcast. I'm David Ammons with Retirement Living Associates, and we're very excited today to have with us a special guest, Madam Secretary Elaine Marshall from the North Carolina Secretary of State's office. She has been in this office a long time and has in fact, quite a glorious background. If you will allow me, I want to read just a little bit of some of the stuff that we know
I'll
about
smile
you.
the whole time. Go
there
ahead.
you go, great. Well, I know you were born in Maryland, which I
That's
find
right.
is interesting,
Yeah.
given the title. In 1996, Secretary of State Elaine Marshall became the first woman ever elected to a statewide executive branch office in North Carolina. Secretary Marshall was a member of the North Carolina State Senate, rising to statewide office. She holds a BS in Home Economics from the University of Maryland and a law degree from Campbell University. She has received honorary doctorate degrees from Campbell University, Lees McRae College, Meredith College, and the Republic of Moldova. Her work experience include teaching home economics in the public school and community college systems, sometime in small business sector, and private practice of law. Secretary Marshall has been very active in many civic groups in the areas of child welfare, women's issues, and agriculture and small town economic development. With that, I say thank you very much. I understand
Well, you're welcome.
also,
Thank you.
I heard some inside information that you also have a gold record from the Who's That With?
The Recording Industry of America.
Cord Recording Industry, and a special recognition by the Canadian Royal Mounted Police,
Yes.
which has got to have quite a story to it.
Well,
So-
they're both kind of interrelated because they're both for the same thing. I mean, they happened at different times and they're no more related, except that it's for counterfeit work.
Yeah, that's one of our
Counterfeits are
topics.
registered here, and we have statutory authority to protect any mark, not just a state registered mark, any federal mark. So any of your big companies like Nike, Adidas, Microsoft, Pepsi, any of those kind of folks, and it's the baseball teams or ball teams in general, college, professional, what have you. A lot of that stuff gets knocked off. But I say if we can make it, somebody else can fake it, because we found fake Tide. Who would have thought soap would be one of them? But they're profit centers and everything, and we find fake medicines also. These are health and safety issues,
Sure.
fake electrical products that are safety and health issues. And I hope we get into a little more detail on that.
I would
topic.
like to do that. I know we have two topics today, generally that I want to cover on behalf of the senior industry and seniors in the state. I tend to focus on those that live within the communities that we manage, but we're working hard with the podcast to make it broader than that into all seniors, of course. So one of our topics today is notaries, and
Right.
you're very, very involved with that. It comes through this office, through this department. And then also, I think trademark and counterfeit kind of go together.
Yes, sir.
So we want to talk about both
Yeah.
of those. So if you want to start with notaries, I think that would be a good
That's
one
fine.
to bring
Yeah.
us up to
I'm
speed. I
glad
do
to.
a lot with notaries myself, and all of us rely on them for confirming signatures and stuff. So tell me about
That's
that.
right. The notary function for North Carolina is here in this office. There are about 165,000 notaries across the state.
Wow.
About 6,000 or 7,000 of them are electronic notaries. That's something that certain industries require, and we're moving more towards electronic mortgage closings in this state. We're the leading state doing that, although the percentage is still small. It's only about 15% of the mortgages that are done totally electronically. But the new era coming on want to
That's
do
right.
everything either on their phone or just, so and banks and mortgage lenders are now into that because it helps their back office function. There's no papers to be lost.
Sure.
And people can get their, I call them documents, but can get their legal matters days in advance instead of coming to the lawyer's office and then not understanding something,
Right.
and the whole thing breaks
big
up.
pile of paper, yes.
Yeah, it's terrible. There is unfortunately fraud in this area, and sometimes it's targeted to seniors, but it's anywhere out there. A notary's job is to guarantee the integrity of the signature in certain areas where notary is required. They are the last line of defense for fraud and deed issues, contract issues. A lot of the contracts are domestic contracts, so
Yes.
family squabbles and all, that
Yes.
kind of thing.
Yes.
Transfers of vehicles are areas also where the notary thing comes in. We unfortunately are seeing a rising wave in deed fraud, appropriation of property by forging someone's name. Sometimes it's inter-family disputes. Sometimes it is property that has been inherited, and the people that have inherited it are not here in North Carolina. anymore. It came maybe to their parents, and now they live in Baltimore or Ohio or Chicago or just someplace like
anywhere,
that.
yeah.
So a person who's willing to forge and then have a notary who is complicit in it. We've got cases like that here in this state that get reported to us, and we investigate these and we prosecute these. We have individual notary crimes in this state, which is not the same everywhere. There's misdemeanor and there's felony. The notary who actually does the forging and then notarizing it, that's clearly a felony.
Oh, wow.
I have administrative authority, so shortcomings or misconduct on the part of notaries can be handled by sending them back to class, that kind of thing, restricting their license until they do that. It's a commission rather than a license. But also we do investigate the out and
How
out
does AI
frauds.
factor into that? I've heard that
Ooh,
it's
good
changing
question.
everything, but
Good question. Good
seems
question.
like digital notary would be in that arena.
Well, identity proofing in remote is one of the things we're working on right now, because there's a new law that's going to move North Carolina more towards this kind of thing. Right now, all parties have to be in North Carolina in order to do the electronic version that we're doing now. With the law that's coming up, people can be, not just, the notary has to be in North Carolina, but the parties can be Wyoming, they can be in Germany, they can be on a military base, what have you. So identity proofing is one of the challenges that we have in writing, well, the law's already passed, but in doing the rules and regulations that go with us. And we are trying to find out, is there a system, AI or knowledge base or what have you, what is the highest level of accuracy that we're going to tolerate here in North Carolina? There's no company that says they're 100% accurate.
Not there.
Which is scary, right?
Yes.
And so is 95% accuracy good? Is that acceptable? Those are the issues that we're dealing with right now, and we're talking with the vendor community about that. And the most recent vendor that the staff has been dealing with has been fingerprint. And I am very interested in that one, fingerprint matching.
Yes.
That is not, people don't like the facial biometrics, but fingerprint, I think people will accept that more. So we are investigating that type of thing to prevent fraud in these distant transactions that are conducted remotely. So,
Yeah, and fingerprinting has gone to digital and scan rather than ink and rolling your thumb, I think. So.
Right. But that's my way of saying it.
No, I
you know,
understand.
yeah.
I have to be fingerprinted, interestingly enough, in retirement communities that have an ABC license. So
yes.
it's been an intriguing thing to me because I've not been arrested in those types of things. So to go do fingerprinting for just identification is a different arena. So
I had to be fingerprinted to work for the Polaroid company.
Is that right?
At Woodward and Lothrop department store when I was a college student.
Wow.
It was one of the best 3-day jobs I ever had.
3 days.
Yes. We
That's
took pictures of people walking through the store to promote. This was back when it took 60 seconds and you had a goopy thing,
Yeah.
Pulled it off and all
Flapped
that.
it, yeah.
And I actually met Dr. Land, who was there watching the project.
Oh.
They got a bunch of sorority girls from the university to come down there and do that. It was one of my great experiences.
Yeah, that's good.
That's
good. Thank you for sharing that.
You're welcome.
Interject that. So let's go back a little bit to the trademark and the counterfeit. I know that that is something very important to you, and it's easy to fool everyone, and maybe in the senior world also. As they
let me say,
function.
we know people are always on short budgets and things like that, and fakes have been around for a long time, and a lot of the public think that they're harmless when it's a sweatshirt or a pocketbook or maybe even a piece of jewelry. But I'd like to raise the factor with people that these are health and safety issues. They are supported by organized crime. That certainly should sober people up.
Yes.
Some of these things are made in countries where children are literally sold into slavery to work on equipment that doesn't have safety guards on it for cutting and sewing and things like that. But there's a real concern right here in North Carolina. We are seeing fake medicines. We are seeing fake products that are available in vape stores and convenience stores that are a problem. The most recent one, we've seen fake cartridges for vapor smoking, Juuls and those kind of things.
Yes.
The most concerning thing right now to us is the misuse of trademarks for THC gummies. North Carolina law allows a THC content of 8, whatever that is, Delta 8 is what it's called, and it's usually packaged in gummies. People use it for sleep, people for anxiety relief, that kind of thing. And this is for adults. That's the adult, and unfortunately, with a lot of herbal or medicinal kind drugs, there is no federal standard and there's not federal testing. I mean, you go to Whole Foods and you buy all these supplements and they clearly say on the bottle,
Right.
you know,
Not proven. Yeah.
there's no FDA standard, that kind of thing. That is true with this marijuana CBD kind of stuff. There are no real standards out there. So what is happening is that the crooks of the world are shipping these in bulk, and they are also shipping the packaging for them. This packaging that I'm holding here is Skittles. This is a real Skittle package that I'm holding, and you can see very much the similarity with the Skittles name and the little ribbon in rainbow color and all. And this actually has the marijuana leaf on it, but it's fairly tiny. It has the Delta 8 on it, and it says medicated up here. But to a 3-year-old or a 4-year-old, the distinction between the real product and this one is indistinguishable. There's a case in Virginia where a 4-year-old, an adult, the mother, left a package that had already been opened on the counter. Her 4-year-old son consumed everything in it and died.
Oh my goodness.
We've had 2 cases here in North Carolina, one in Wake Forest, where a grandparent was babysitting and her twins had done the exact same thing, her grandchildren, and she got a medical help right away. And they turned out okay. Another one happened in Fayetteville. Some middle schoolers had come from home with a package like this.
That's legitimate CBD product that
For
then
an
hurt the
adult.
person? Oh, for an adult.
For an adult. It's adult dosage.
Yes.
And and that's for 1 or 2, I don't know.
Right,
you know.
right.
And
Whatever
when a
the-
child eats all of them,
Yes.
you know,
Yes.
we had a case in Fayetteville where the kids were sharing them on the bus.
Oh, yeah.
And 2 of them were sick by the time they got to the schoolyard, and school people found out.
Wow.
But this should be treated like something toxic, like a chemical in your kitchen. It needs to be under lock and key, or it needs to be up very high where a
Sure.
child can't get to it. So grandparents, when you have babysitting duties, please
right.
check to see what's laying out.
And is the labeling perfectly legal, but it's what?
No, it's not perfectly legal. This is a misuse of that trademark.
Okay, okay.
Skittles never gave permission to put gummies,
Okay.
marijuana gummies, in this bag.
Wow, okay.
So, and you can see with computers and what have you, fakers can
yeah.
replicate just about
Oh, yeah,
anything
yeah.
out there, and it looks very original. So,
Yes. What other kind of counterfeit issues do you run into?
counterfeit electrical things, counterfeit medicines, prescription medicines. I'll talk about that in a minute. Counterfeit contact lenses that are like sandpaper for your
Oh, wow.
eyelid, you know, like that. Some teenagers use these cosmetic types to change just the color of their eyes,
Yes.
and they're buying them at convenience stores and what have you. And I've had optometrists come to me and talk to me about this. There are a lot of things out there that are happening. The electrical products that have no real insulation in them are combustible, and so we're doing this before the holiday season, and people will be buying lights, and you know, I worry about those. And so if the price is too good, beware. If you're buying it at a place where you would not normally find that product, beware. If you're finding it at a very, very something, last season we saw Xboxes with like, I don't know, 700 things in them. I think 60 is the maximum that any company puts in their box.
Right, so it's just unrealistic.
Unrealistic, yeah. If it's too good in some fashion,
Right,
you know,
right.
leave it there, because at the worst, it's not going to work. You know, it's not going to meet your
Sure,
expectations.
sure.
But tennis shoes, those kind of things, some of the things are hard to detect. But if you look and you see threads hanging in there, Nike and Adidas don't make sloppy underneath of their jerseys and T-shirts, and they clip everything. They don't let anything go out of the plant unless it's very well done, because it's their reputation out there.
Right.
So people really need to be aware. And on the thing on fake medicines, if people are
Yes.
buying online, there is a product that was developed by not the pharmacy companies, so be clear about that, by people like Google and FedEx and those that make their living out of e-commerce and delivery things. And it's been endorsed by us, AARP, the Family Physicians, the Chamber of Commerce, the Justice Center, North Carolina Council of Churches. A lot of the feds tell us that most of these pharmacies that claim to be Canadian pharmacies and just look like us and it makes it an idyllic situation are not. They are coming from somewhere else, and these products are of who knows what content, because we found cancer medicine without the active ingredient for treating cancer in this country. So let's say somebody's looking for blood pressure medicine and you come up on one of these sites and the price looks good. What we recommend is you copy that URL and then go to verifybeforeyoubuy.com. Put all those words together, verifybeforeyoubuy.com, and then paste that URL in. And it will tell you if that is a legitimate, a rogue, or they can't tell pharmacy. And if it's anything other than legitimate, you ought not be buying the product because you don't know what you're getting. And you also don't know who you're giving your Social Security information to. I mean, your credit card information, not Social Security. Credit
Well, or
card
Medicare
information.
number, which is
Medicare.
often Social Security
Right,
related.
right,
So yeah. Same
So
thing.
that's an asset out there that we like to promote a lot and hope
Yes.
people will use it.
That's great.
Yep.
Thank you very much. One thing I'm curious is I was trying to think as you were talking about the products from a senior use point of view. I know fixed income and different things drive people to look for better prices.
Right.
And so I was trying to think of products that could be senior focus purchase, if you will. And I hate to imply too
Well,
much scooters, but batteries
So I was
or
going to say some medical
hearing
devices.
aids.
Yeah, we've seen fake batteries here. We've got a battery company here in Asheboro, I believe it is, in North Carolina. It takes a little bit of skill to identify a fake battery. Well, frequently they're inside something to start with.
Yes,
You
certainly.
know,
certainly.
so devices like that, if the price is very low or if you're buying it at a place, I mean, you wouldn't buy it at a convenience store. you
Right,
know, that
right,
kind of
right.
thing.
Or hearing aids. I know
Yeah.
I hear so much about one hearing aid is hundreds of dollars and another one is $12 or 19 or something.
Oh, my.
And it just doesn't make sense to me.
No, it
So
doesn't. No, it
so
doesn't.
Seeing
Yeah.
that type of trying to protect.
Yeah.
All right. Anything else you'd like to add? I think we wanted
Well,
to cover.
Trademarks are exciting. So
Are exciting, yes.
Yes, yeah, and we just need to raise the awareness of it. And
Okay.
yeah, I mean, the last raid that we had, was marijuana involved. There were weapons of mass destruction, the possession of a felon. You know, these are bad operators, and the history has been in a lot of places in America that money that comes from this goes back to support terrorist operations.
Yeah,
So-
yeah, and
or
organized crime.
organized crime. So
Exactly.
just bad operators, and I know products are tempting, and I used to buy things that I knew were going to turn my arm green.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, and I thought it
Harmless,
was a
but-
joke, but I now understand the real complexity of it and the
Uh.
seriousness of it.
One thing I know we work a lot with our medical community, within our retirement communities, social workers and whatnot, is advanced directives. Can you speak to that? I know your
A lot of
department's
people
heavily
don't
involved.
realize that we are the state depository for those. Now it's
Wow.
a voluntary thing. And we've been this for now maybe 20
But
years.
this is where they're,
But this is where they can be put on record in a separate, secure section of our work. And when people register them, they get back a little card that has information on it where their password is and their ID. And this is one password that it's okay to put on your refrigerator. Give it to your bridge club, what have you. Because at a time when you're going to need an advanced healthcare directory, you're not going to be with your local doctor. You're going to be at some medical center with a doctor you've probably never heard of before. And hospitals do know that this is available, and if somebody would tell them that this person has an advanced healthcare directory, it can be accessed there. These are things like what we call a living will, healthcare power of attorney, a mental health power of attorney, and an organ donor card. These are all 4 different type documents. They are on our website, sosnc.gov, with instructions on how to fill them out, because filling out the advanced healthcare power of attorney and all takes a little bit of difference, witnesses and those kinds
yeah,
of things.
we have them on file at our communities and help people with them.
Yeah,
But
a lot of communities require them to be
Sure,
on record, but it's a place where you know, if you're traveling in Ohio,
Yes.
you know, if somebody in the family knows it's there, but your local doctor and your local lawyer who would probably not be available, people put them in their safe deposit box, which is not available on the weekends, you
Right,
know, and
right.
who has a right to get into it. So,
And there's fewer and fewer of those anyway. So.
right. So it's a good way to make sure it's safe and secure, and you can get it back if you need to change some other designation there. Now, there is a small charge for depositing it. The
Yeah.
General Assembly has not funded that, but you know,
Sure.
it's not exorbitant.
No, of
And a
course
lot of lawyers do it automatically when they do people's wills and just, you know,
Include it.
send it to us. Yeah.
Good. Okay.
So, yeah.
Well, that's an area I certainly was not aware of was at this department, even though I have been involved with those
Right.
documents for many, many, many years.
Right.
But both personal, but more so professionally, of course.
Right.
So.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, and it's the kind of thing that people hesitate to do it, but you're not going to have your voice always to actually say what kind of care you need.
That's right.
So at a time when you're of clear mind and what have you, it's time to have that conversation. And the holidays are a good time when families get together to
Share.
let
That's
folks
right.
know, you know.
That's right. What I find is you need to share with family because child A and child B may not have the same opinions on what you should do. So
I have had chaplains tell me that bedside discussions over the care of their parent have caused irreparable harm in family.
Oh, yeah.
Because one says, Mama didn't want to be this way, and
Yeah.
the other one says, I never heard her say that.
Yeah.
So this way, you can have your voice right there in the hospital
That's right.
room when you're not physically able to speak out.
That's right. And I'll add to that another layer that's a little heavy, but is I know residents who had that dispute with their children, heard them and could not communicate back to that.
Yeah.
Now, you know, if they then recover some, it's
Right.
quite tragic. So, okay. Well, thank you very much. You're certainly a special guest to have with us, and I appreciate you taking
Well,
the time to do it.
I appreciate the opportunity to explain some of these things because
Yes.
folks just get overwhelmed and they don't know where to go, where to look. So
Yes.
sosnc.gov, and we try to accommodate everybody and get it to the right place. if
Good.
it's
We
not
will do
us.
that. We're trying hard with our podcast to not be a commercial for our communities, but senior and industry overall well-being. So I think that
Thank you for what
aligns
you're doing.
great.
Yep,
Yes.
thank you.
Thank you much.